Hey Protos subscribers, we are going to be talking today in this video about reflected light. Now, we've referred to it before, and it's one of the methods that is really intriguing and great to add some light, whether it's specular or just an area that you need lit, or if it's something that you need a lot filled but you don't want the background filled either. There's some specific ways that you need to use the reflected light properly. So we're going to talk a little bit about the reflected light. I'm going to let some more of those details as I think about them kind of roll out as we talk about these other things, because I want to talk about reflected light in specific colors. This one we're going to be talking about as reflected light from white. It's going to be a little bit similar in color to silver, but silver is going to be more I guess depending on the color of your white, but silver will tend to be cooler than white. White, if it's a good pure white, is going to throw all that colored light back up on your subject without giving a color variation, but silver is going to tend to remove more of the red and yellow and throw more of the blue into your subject. However, getting back into reflected white, I have here a 110 centimeter, I believe, round reflector of mine. It's one of the larger round reflectors. It looks to be 2.5 foot wide, something like that. And I'm going to show you in the video what it looks like. Where I am here in my backyard, you can see the shadow of my my shoulder against the wall, but I'm going to show you what the reflector does when it adds light to my face with this floodlight over here. Now that we have a little bit less light from the sun, I was considering doing it with the sun, but I wasn't sure just how direct that sun would be, the sunlight, and how much would really show up in the video here. But if it's going to show up with the floodlight, it's probably going to show up with the sunlight anyway. It's just the same ratio. The intensity of the light, the reflector's only going to reflect back so much light, and it usually depends on the intensity of your initial light. Mine is the floodlight from right over there, and we were just talking about the sunlight, so I was probably just overthinking it. It really didn't matter anyway. But that being said, I'm trying to play it. There we go. Okay, so you can see right under my chin, probably most of it was reflecting some of that white. That white here, oops, I just bumped my camera, but you can see here, oh wow, that's fairly dramatic. If you want to know what is being seen in the camera's perspective of your subject, then you want to basically sit where your subject is or very close to it. If you're shooting a flower, for instance, if you can, if it's a potted flower, move the pot and stand or sit in the area where that pot was sitting, so that you know exactly where your reflector needs to be. Right there, you can really see the shadow on the outside of my face really lightened. Now, it's not like a flash dramatic, but it is light enough that if you want to lighten a shadow on a side of your subject a little bit, use the white reflector. It'll really bring out some of the detail in that shadow if it's too dark to have that shadow seen, or excuse me, the detail seen in that shadow. So that being said, I'm here with my reflector, and I basically, from my perspective, since I'm the subject of my video right now, I am looking at my reflector, and I can almost, it's not reflective enough to actually see the light, but I can see that there are other places where that light is not as intense, but I can see where that light gets more intense from the subject, the source of that light, and that's going to be reflecting right back up into my face. Now that I have the reflector down, you can see, obviously, it's not as very dramatic. But here you can see I'm in the shadow, so I'm not seeing that light directly, that floodlight from over here for me, but I am lighting myself and you can see reflector gone, reflector in. And so that being said, you can see there's a lightening of that shadow, and it looks a little bit maybe not nicer, yeah, but you can see it lightens the shadow, and it's a different effect. Where's that added light coming in? But you know, it's also adding that light in so that it's not so overwhelming to go, wow, that light shouldn't be coming from the right direction. It's one of the ambient light sources you can use to fill the shot that you have and that you intend to use, so that the shadows are not as dark. So how do you get a reflector? There are plenty of them for sale out there. If you don't want to spend the money on a reflector right now, we will be talking in future videos about how to make your own reflector. So stay tuned, subscribe, ring that notification bell so that you don't miss any of those videos coming up. Have a great one.